record what's been marked as Doman Exhibit 18. Consists of 3 pages, bait stamp numbered HMC 002558, 2559, 2565.
Can you read the first email, the date of it, the author of it? Yes, the first page, first email.
Just for clarification of the record, you want him? Are you directing his attention to the first email on the page or the first chronological email?
First email on the page, the very top. The date and who said and author and what it said.
This email dated April 3rd, 2008, from me to Dr. Blosser.
Please read it out loud.
There were no extenuating circumstances. We met with Mark Faulkner concerning this resident and his inability to pass Step 3 and have decided to put him on leave until he passed the exam. He has been maintained at a PGY2 level for his 2 years here, but while our policy has changed that requires all residents to pass Step 3 before advancement to the PGY3 level. As I remember, he was given very clear instruction that he has to obtain Step 3 by the end of December 2007, or he would not be allowed to continue the program. He agreed to this, and just before the end of December, he went on medical leave that stipulated that he could not study for any exam. He was sent another letter indicating that he would not be able to continue until he passed Step 3. So that is sort of where we are now. FYI, he completed 26 months of residency in another program and was terminated for inability to pass Step 3.
How did you know where did you get the term terminated from?
I don't remember.
Because that's the incorrect term for the record. Can you read the next? Can you read the next? Can you read the next email that's authored by you?
The next listed or the next?
The next, like down the page, then to the top, and then down the next page. Well, actually, on that page, isn't there an email at the bottom from Dr. Simons?
Yes.
Can you read that one? Date and then body.
April 3rd, 2008, from Dr. Simons and the Vice Dean for Educational Affairs. We have now a strict policy about this, and this resident is clearly out of compliance. No fault but his. If he wants to meet with someone, my suggestion is that he meet with Ron Doman first, just to clarify the situation. I don't believe there's any due process if he does not follow the requirement, and this new policy went into effect this year. I am copying Ron as well. Thanks.
Would that policy apply to me?
I think that's what he said.
But how could it apply to me when I was on personal leave?
Check to the form.
In your first paragraph that you read of that email, did you say anything about personal leave being appropriate for not having passed Step 3?
Check to the form in question.
It just says that we met with Mark Faulkner concerning this resident and his inability to pass Step 3, and it was decided to put him on leave until he passed the exam.
Okay, so that leave was the personal leave, correct?
I believe so.
Is that mentioned in the Step 3 policies that we reviewed? 91806 revision?
You want to show him the document? That you're referring to?
the one with my, yeah.
So we're looking at Donovan Exhibit 16.
The September 18th, 2006 Step 3 policy.
Yes, does it mention anywhere that a resident should be placed on personal leave if they don't pass step 3?
No.
So where was the justification, according to your email, to do that?
Object to the form of the question, if you can.
Well, like I said, we try to bend over backwards to help residents, and I'm assuming that giving you personal leave will give you time to study for the exam, because we really wanted you to pass the exam.
Oh, but did you bend over backwards for Dr. Shaw and continue to offer him a salary and not put him on step 3, despite the fact he didn't pass it even into his 4th year?
Object to the question, and we've stated, I think the witness has stated more than once that he doesn't know enough about Dr. Shaw's circumstances. You keep stating on the record what those circumstances are, but you're not testifying to that.
Well, you did say Dr. Shaw had a stroke, correct?
In my recollection, yes.
Is that why he was afforded additional years to pass step 3, afforded a salary, and afforded continuing training?
Object to the form of the question.
The policies of the Step 3 policies were changed to make it more difficult for residents to go beyond 2 years and not pass Step 3.
In my case, dismissal was placed upon me. But dismissal, was that mentioned in any of the policies that you looked at so far in the middle of their 2nd year?
Object to the form of the question.
I believe non-renewal or not progressing to PGY 3 years is mentioned.
And did it mention anywhere that Dr. Shah was given personal leave without pay to pass step 3?
Object to the form of the
In
question.
what you saw with his documents?
I don't know what leave Dr. Shaw had or how his case was particularly handled. I don't have the information on that.
So you think if a resident can't pass step 3 in the middle of their 2nd year, that being mandated on personal leave without pay, without having the ability to pay bills, is bending over backwards for them?
Object to the form of the question.
We try our best to help the residents as best we can.
That's the best you could do.
Object to the form of the question.
That was the best you guys could do?
As I recall,
Object to the form of the question.
you did pass Step 3.
Correct. But I was placed on personal leave after my FMLA from the expiration of my FMLA through the date that I passed step 3 without pay. Is that bending over backwards and being supportive of a resident to not give them pay?
Object to the form of the question.
Well, I think our FMLA policy says that after you use all your FMLA, then if you continue to need time off, you will take time off without pay.
Can you read on page 1 what Dr. Blosser wrote?
We're looking at Donovan Exhibit 18.
Let's see.
Starts with Ron. It's about a 2-liner.
This is April 3rd, 2008. Ron, I think maybe there are extenuating circumstances since he was out on medical leave from October to February and took the exam in March. 2nd attempt, I believe. Thanks, S.E.
Can you go to the very last page and read your email, the time, the date, and the body?
This is from me to Dr. Aksu, to Dr. Petty, and to Ms. Madden. April 2nd, 2008. As I recall, the letters that were sent to Dr. Khan, it is specifically stated that he is suspended from the program until he produces evidence of having passed step 3. We are under no obligation to meet with him until he has passed the exam. Perhaps Dr. Petty could email / contact him and remind him of that. Thanks.
So you were the one that put me on suspension?
No.
But I thought I was on leave. I didn't know I was suspended. Was I suspended or was I put on leave?
Object to the form of the question.
Which one was that on?
I think it was pretty clear you were put on personal leave.
But then you just said I was suspended from the program in that email, correct?
Object to the form of the question.
Correct?
That's what it said.
Yeah. Next domain.
For the record, what's been marked Doman Exhibit 19, date stamped HMC 002492.
Can you read out loud author, date, and body of that email, please?
This is from Dr. Petty, Leonora Petty, to Dr. Axu and Beth Herman, and CC to me and Mark Faulkner. Reference Dr. Kahn. Dr. Kahn has completed the request to pass his USMLE 3 by April 30th. As he has done this, we are ready to have him return to finish his child psychiatry fellowship. I have consulted with the faculty, and they all concur.
And then if we go back to domain number 4, it's right here. I think. I don't know, what is it for? Is that November 12, 2007? Yes. And what does that say about my progression to PGY3 on successful completion related to April 30, 2008?
Object to the form.
This is addressed to you from Dr. Petty and CC to me and Beth Herman. So the Department of Psychiatry has received notice from Human Resources that your FMLA leave has been approved as of November 12, 2007. After your FMLA leave has ended, you will be placed on personal leave without pay until you successfully complete the USMLE Step 3 examination or the expiration of your current appointment. You will be given credit for service in the residency program through November 14, 2007.
So how come I wasn't given a contract by, and you can reference domain 1 by Dr. Hegarty, despite my fulfillment of that requirement by April 30th, 2008?
Object to the form of the question.
So Dr. Hegarty says your contract expired on April 30th, 2008. You have requested a new contract appointment. After careful consideration, this letter is to advise you the department will not be offering a new contract in the program.
So did Dr. Hegarty follow the promise that was made to me by not only Dr. Petty but by yourself in your email?
Object to the form of the question.
I don't know what promise I made.
The Dr. Petty made a promise, correct?
Object to the form of the question.
In that letter? That would be progressed to PGY3 by April 30, 2008?
What letter are you talking about?
The November 12, 2007 letter that we just read?
You have to make a clear record. You say that letter, and it's not clear what you're talking about.
Let's say Dr. Petty's letter. The November 12, 2007. I fulfilled the obligation, correct, by April 30, 2008?
This letter doesn't say anything about your contract renewal.
But it says progression to PGY3, correct?
Object to the form of the question.
No.
Moving on to the next domain. We only like 5 more minutes anyway. A couple more documents.
Exhibit 20, Dr. Doman's deposition is HMC 002538 base stamp.
Can you please read aloud the time, the date of it, the author of it, and the body of it?
There's 2 emails.
There are 3 emails. Which
Three.
one? do you-
Please read the one that you authored, Dr. Doman.
Okay. April 30th, 2008. If I am correct, this contract with us officially expires today. So it is up to the program whether or not they want to offer him another contract. But it could be a contract to finish out his child psych training and not necessarily to continue in the adult program, unless you want him in the adult program. However, if you are not going to offer him a new contract, it must be backed up with evaluations and performance assessments, as well as documentation that you provided him with performance assessments, and let him know where he stands. And from what I have heard, I am not sure that you have that level of documentation. I may be wrong. Having said that, we are under no obligation to offer any of our residents contracts beyond the current one, but obviously we accept them into our training programs with a quotes gentleman's unquotes agreement that if their performance is satisfactory, then we will keep them in the program until they finish the required number of years. Any other thoughts?
What is a gentleman's agreement?
Sort of a handshake understanding.
Oh, so like residents should come to a program and they should work for a year and just hope that the handshake means something?
Object to the form of the question.
No, I'm saying that when we accept a resident into the PGY 1 year of a residency program, or fellowship for that matter, it's with the anticipation that they will be here for the entire training program. We hope they will be. However, the contract runs for 1 year. So if there are circumstances why a resident should not be renewed from 1 year to the next, then there's no obligation to continue to offer that resident a contract.
And that could be for arbitrary reasons, true, correct?
Object to the form of the question.
I have never seen a resident not offered a contract for arbitrary reasons.
But you can't say that that didn't happen, can you?
Object to the form of the question.
There's a lot of things that can't say happen or don't happen. But in my 8 years of tenure, I have never seen a resident not offered a contract who's been performing satisfactorily.
Next Doman. If you're like 10 or 15 minutes over, is that okay? But you won't charge for that? Just 10 or 15.
No, we have to stop at 5.
I was thinking 5, 15, 10, 5, 10.
No, we
No,
can't.
5.
We have to stop at 5.
Do this another day.
Doman Exhibit 21, estates numbered HMC 002979.
Can you read the date, author, and body of the letter?
June 20th, 2008. This was addressed to you. I write to inform you that the grievance panel upheld your appeal of the non-renewal of your residency contract. Your residency contract in the child psychiatry program will be renewed. Sincerely, Dr. Richard Simon, Vice Dean for Educational Affairs. I was not copied on this letter.
Next Doman. 2 more documents. Done.
Exhibit 22, estates numbered HMC 002644.
read date, authors, body of document.
Okay, it's dated July 2nd, 2008, addressed to you. We would be happy to welcome you back to the program. We have reviewed your objection. The matter has been reviewed by the Residency Training Committee, who unanimously felt that what is being asked of you is not any more than what is expected of any resident. The Vice Dean for Educational Affairs, Dr. Richard Simons, recommends a remediation plan as well. We felt the plan was reasonable and addresses past issues that you have had in your training. After careful consideration, we feel implementation of the plan is appropriate. We sincerely hope that you take this opportunity to move forward and sign both the contract and the remediation plan. Both must be signed for you to proceed. Sincerely, signed by Dr. Petty and Dr. Aksu, and I am not copying this.
Supposed to be the last one. There's one missing. And just add this next element. I'll find the last page. Fine.
That's been marked exhibit 23, oh, I'm sorry. That's been marked exhibit 23 is date stamp agency 002413, 2643, 2608.
Can you basically read what Dr. Hegarty wrote on the first page? Date and body?
At the top of the page?
Top of the page.
Okay, for James Hegarty to Dr. Simons, dated June 27th, 2008. CC to Mark Faulkner, Beth Herman, myself, and somebody else. And trails off. Rich, I will be personally issuing a contract to Dr. Kahn. The department will issue a new contract and associated remediation plan. The contract and remediation plan are in the hands of our attorney, Mr. Faulkner, for review. I believe the review was completed today, and I will ask Mr. Faulkner to expedite delivery of the contract and remediation plan to Dr. Kahn. Thanks, Jim.
The next page, please. Does that look like a remediation plan to you?
Says dated July 1st, 2008. Dr. Kahn, your new contract will commence as of July 1st, 2008, and will be for a term of 1 year. In light of previous problems encountered during your participation in the program, this remediation plan has been approved by the Residency Training Committee and sets forth certain specific expectations we have concerning several previously identified deficiencies in your performance. And then it lists 3 points here. And input to expect all our residents to appear on time, refrain from unexcused absences, be truthful in communications with faculty, staff, and fellow residents.
And okay, please, that's enough. Who signed it?
Dr. Petty, Dr. Aksu, and there's a place for your signature, but it's unsigned.
Next page, please. Author, date of letter, and body, please.
July 10th, 2008. Dear Dr. Kahn, you should have received the certified letter by now. In answer to your question, we believe Dr. Simons has clarified this for you. As the new rotation period has begun July 1st, fitting you into the rotations that you need to complete your training becomes increasingly difficult for both the child and adult program. In order for you to resume your training, you need to sign both the remediation plan and the contract. To that end, we need to receive the signed document, the C-5603, no later than 4:30 p.m., July 16, 2008. If not, we will be unable to place you in the program, and the offer will be considered withdrawn. Sincerely, Dr. Petty and Dr. Axel.
It's 5 after 5. have them read
Just-
a document?
Just identify them, just the author, and you don't even have to read like one line on where I direct them.
This is 24.
On the first page,
Let me just
Yeah.
read the date stamp numbers. HMC 002614, 2610, 2645, 2614, 2613, 2612.
is the first page an email by Dr. Simon at the very top? Can you read the date and the actual email?
From Dr. Simons to this your email address, KHANAII1 @hotmail.
Yes.
And to Dr. Petty, Ms. Madden, Dr. Axu, and copy to Dr. Blosser and Mark Faulkner. I'm not copied on this. It says I was not involved in the decision to develop this remediation plan, but I believe it's appropriate and justified. The program certainly has the prerogative to implement. Again, this matter is now between Dr. Kahn and Dr. Petty, signed by Dr. Simons.
On the next page, is there an email from me to Dr. Simons with the word quoting serious inconsistency at all?
Are you talking about the top email
Top,
on
yeah.
the page?
Okay, from you to Dr. Axu, Dr. Petty, Ms. Matt. That's the one? July 7th, 2008.
Yeah.
Dr. Petty and Dr. Axu. I received your letter to me dated July 2nd by certified mail today. There is a very serious inconsistency between your statement in this letter, quotes, the Vice Dean for Educational Affairs, Dr. Richard Simons, recommends a remediation plan as well, end quote. And Dr. Simons' statement in the email below, quote, I was not involved within consideration for issuance of the remediation plan, end quote. How will you reconcile your statement in this letter with Dr. Simons' statement?
That's what, can you go to the next page of the Dr. Simons email? Is there a Dr. Simons email there?
At the top of the page?
Or is it at the bottom of my...
There's one July 3rd to you.
From Dr. Simons?
From Dr. Simons.
Can you read that one, please?
Or no, from you to Dr. Simons.
Can you read that, please?
Dr. Simons, I have some significant concerns to address with you at this time. It's quite clear to me that the PSCOM/MSHMC GME grievance process has resulted in a remediation plan being placed upon me, which I feel to be retaliatory, intimidatory, unfair, unethical, unconstitutional, and a violation of my civil rights. This remediation plan not only indirectly labels me as a liar in stipulation number 3, but it has essentially taken away my freedom to speak freely in the program if I have any future grievances, as it declares the residency training committee the judge in deciding what I say to be truthful or not. How can it seem at all fair or be due process if the same department and for alleged untruthfulness be allowed to judge untruthfulness and levy sanctions? This third stipulation reminds me of the allegations Dr. Hegarty made towards me in my meeting with him on 6/11, where he defamed me in his attempt to undermine my credibility in front of Dr. Doman and Dr. Blosser by repeatedly
That's it? Okay. The next page, what is it? Just a simple email again?
From Dr. Simons to you, July 7th, 2008.
Can you just read that one?
Dr. Kahn, the decision of the grievance panel required the Department of Psychiatry to offer you a contract for the 2008-2009 training year. The residency program has complied with that requirement. It whether to impose a remediation plan. I was not involved in consideration or issuance of the remediation plan. However, in cases in which there are perceived problems with the resident's performance, the use of a remediation plan is an appropriate and recognized approach to assuring that a resident is aware of expectations of the program and has an opportunity to demonstrate compliance with those expectations.
And is that the last page, or is there
There's several more pages.
what are they? Just emails?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to. Just put them. We'll put them in the exhibit, but we won't talk about it. So I'm going to just ask you this one last question. Was I retaliated against, in your opinion, for using my FMLA?
In my opinion, no.
Then how come I was placed on
Was
personal?
that your last question?
No, it's a three-part question. Then how come I was placed on personal leave after FMLA, fulfilled my obligation of my step 3, terminated by or not renewed by Dr. Haggerty, reversed the appeal. Dr. Simons didn't recommend remediation, but the department said he did. Wouldn't it seem obvious that all this is related to the fact that I wasn't there to provide service to the program during the time of my FMLA?
Object to the form of the question.
No, I don't know that. The program has under their discretion to apply a remediation plan or not.
Do you think it was fair for the program to take away my credit with 5.5 weeks left of my training?
Object to the form of the question.
That's up to the program to decide. It's not judgment call on me. You passed step 3. You were offered a contract along with the remediation plan.
But as you mentioned in that other email, last question, in the other email, that you need adequate documentation in order to justify not giving them another contract, and we're under no obligation to do that. It's up to the program. Dr. Petty offered the contract. Dr. Petty did not mention remediation. Dr. Haggerty mentioned zero tolerance policy. Dr. Simons mentioned that he didn't offer remediation. So was it fair for that to be placed on me when I wasn't on remediation before I took FMLA?
Object to the form of the question.
I can't answer all those questions. These are discussions that the department had without my being present. These are committee decisions that are made, based on your performance and your record and how they felt that they wanted to proceed to make sure that you were a competent physician graduating from one of our programs.
Okay, thank you for your time, Dr.